Cinderella, a magical transformation. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She had golden hair that shone like the sun and eyes as blue as the sky. Cinderella lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters, who were very unkind to her. They made her do all the chores and never helped her with anything. Every day, Cinderella cleaned the house, cooked the meals, and took care of the garden. Despite all the hard work, she remained gentle and cheerful. She found joy in the little things, like singing with the birds and talking to her animal friends. One day, an exciting announcement came from the royal palace. The king and queen were hosting a grand ball, and everyone in the kingdom was invited. The ball was in honor of the prince, who was looking for someone special to be his princess. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were thrilled. They spent days preparing their dresses and practicing their dance moves. Cinderella longed to go to the ball, but she had nothing to wear and no way to get there. On the night of the ball, Cinderella helped her stepsisters get ready. They left her alone, laughing at the idea that she could ever go to the ball. Cinderella sat by the fireplace, feeling sad and lonely. Suddenly, a soft, glowing light filled the room. Cinderella looked up and saw her fairy godmother standing before her. She had a kind smile and twinkling eyes. "Don't cry, dear Cinderella," said the fairy godmother. "You shall go to the ball." With a wave of her magic wand, the fairy godmother transformed Cinderella's old rags into a beautiful gown of shimmering blue. On her feet appeared delicate glass slippers that sparkled like stars. "But how will I get to the ball?" Cinderella asked. The fairy godmother waved her wand again, and a pumpkin outside turned into a splendid golden carriage. 6 mice turned into magnificent horses, and a rat became a grand coachman. "Remember, Cinderella," the fairy godmother said, "this magic will only last until midnight. You must return home before the clock strikes 12. Cinderella thanked her fairy godmother and climbed into the carriage. As she arrived at the palace, everyone turned to look at the beautiful girl who stepped out. The prince, enchanted by her grace and beauty, asked her to dance. Cinderella and the prince danced all night, lost in each other's company. She was so happy that she forgot about the time. Suddenly, she heard the clock begin to chime midnight. "Oh no, I must go," Cinderella exclaimed, and she ran out of the palace. In her haste, she lost one of her glass slippers on the steps. The prince ran after her but could only find the slipper. He vowed to find the owner of the slipper, for he knew she was the one he wanted to marry. The next day, the prince and his servants went to every house in the kingdom, looking for the girl whose foot would fit the glass slipper. When they arrived at Cinderella's house, her stepsisters tried to fit into the slipper, but it was too small for them. Cinderella's stepmother tried to hide her, but the prince saw her and asked her to try on the slipper. To everyone's amazement, the slipper fit perfectly. Cinderella took out the other slipper from her pocket and put it on. The prince knew she was the one. With tears of joy, Cinderella hugged her animal friends and thanked her fairy godmother. She went to the palace with the prince, where they were married in a grand celebration. Cinderella's kindness and grace had won the prince's heart. From that day on, Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after. She invited her animal friends to the palace and always remembered the lessons of kindness and love. Her stepmother and stepsisters, having learned their lesson, were forgiven, and they all lived in peace and harmony.